Welcome, everyone. I am John Ryan of SportsMemo.com. This is the NBA Triple Double Show for Tuesday, April the 19th, 2022. I'm here with my good friend and pal and professional sports bettor and NBA guru himself, Ronald Cabang. Welcome to the show, Ronald. We're going to dissect three games today that are on tonight's NBA card. We had some great action last night. The betting guys have not found out about my 68% run over my last 56 plays, so please don't tell anybody. So let's get right to it. We can brag later. So the first game is the Atlanta Hawks. Look at the rebound after their thrashing of the Miami Heat. Eastern Conference playoff game here. We have the Heat 54-29 now for the season's 12 games over 500 against the spread. Atlanta's 11 games over 500 against the spread. More importantly, Atlanta is down 1-0 in this game. And it seems to me, Ronald, that the talking heads in the world seem to be thinking that Trae Young, who was Ice Trae, get it? Ice Trae. In the previous game, he was terrible. He had a bad game. Now, he traditionally does bounce back with big-time efforts.
Yeah.
But somehow my gut feeling is telling me that that is not going to happen against this number one seed Miami Heat. And we're looking at a pretty special number one seed that might be better than advertised. What do you think of this matchup tonight?
Yeah, obviously, Trey is a great player. I think he does bounce back, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they cover this game. I still think that the Heat have this team covered as far as just being a better all around team, and you could see that by just how they played together as a unit in the last game. They won the assist battle 35-16. They play as a team. That's what it is. Trae Young doesn't have any really capable guys that he can trust at this moment, or to play against this top defensive unit like the Heat. I think one of the underrated moves that the Heat did was replace Duncan Robinson from the
Hmm.
starting lineup, and that just made the team I think even stronger defensively to start off the game, and then Duncan Robinson gets that to take that pressure off him to really just focus on his shooting ability, and that's what he did in the last game. I think they continue to be successful against the Hawks, but I do think the Hawks also bounce back a little bit, at least offensively. I think Trey should have a better game overall, but to me, the lean here is the Heat and the over. I'm looking at the how the Hawks do after a double digit loss like that. Um, they're 6-12 against the spread in that situation, and if you add that they're the away dog in the game, they're 1-7 against the spread in that situation with a minus 6.25 first half margin and a minus 10 full game margin. And they're averaging 107 in those games and allowing 117. So that kind of goes is sort of aligned with my leans here with the Heat and the over. On the Heat side, you have 10-4 against the spread as home favorites in conference games against teams with a winning record. So obviously in the playoffs, I think the only team with a losing record is the Pelicans. So everyone in the East are,
Right.
are really top tier teams, and 17-7 to the over after allowing less than 100. So you can kind of see that they get a little bit they play a little looser defensively, because they're just feeling a little bit more confident. That's what it kind of seems like in those situations. So to me, Heat and over are the leans. I do like the Heat quite a bit. Actually, both plays quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I can't see myself betting the under. The Hawks are 0-9 against the number when playing against a good team with a win percentage between 60 and 75% in games played this season. I think it goes to 0-10, and somehow in my mind, in my analysis, this matchup actually reminds me of the Sixers and Toronto. And what is going to change in one game that would allow Toronto to actually come back and beat the Sixers last night? I didn't see it, and that was one of the main reasons I was on the Sixers. Maybe in game three, Toronto wins, and maybe similarly, Atlanta will give Miami a much better contest when they are in Atlanta in game three. But Miami is number one seed, and I don't care what others say that, well, gee, they're really not a number one seed traditionally. I mean, it's a bunch of you know what, and I do think Miami they might even be playing with a little bit of a chip on on their shoulder, and they also have that Jimmy Butler guy, right? I mean, a guy just shows up in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm getting a little irritated at the competing shows, I guess, that don't have the analytics that we have, I suppose, in my humble opinion. But
yeah.
Trey Young,
Hey, there you go.
little boast there, I guess. Trey Young, I'm going to suggest betting under 35 and a half points and assists at Caesars, minus 110 vig. But the one that I like even better is betting over with Bam, 22 and a half points and assists, minus 105 right now at FanDuel, minus 105 at MGM, and 105 at Caesars. So I like the Bam prop there, points and over in this matchup. And I also concur with you with over and the Heat. Absolutely. Let's move on to our second game, and this is one that I really find intriguing. We have the number 7 seed Minnesota Timberwolves having won game one in what I thought was like a chaotic NBA game, especially in that second
Hmm.
half. It seemed like there was no flow. Minnesota was trying to get the ball down on the court on the offensive possessions they had in less than a second, it seemed, and a lot of bad passing, but it worked. It was like the Timberwolves created chaos. Memphis could not overcome it.
Yeah.
And I think Memphis, obviously being the number 2 seed, needs to overcome it. And by the way, teams that are the 2 seed, Ronald, that have lost game one in the first round, perfect 6-0 against the number. Do you think it goes to 7-0 tonight?
I think so. I mean, that's where I'm leaning. I think Grizzlies have one of the best coaches in the league, in Coach Jenkins, especially coming off of a loss. Um, if you look at the Grizzlies against the spread following a double-digit loss, they're 13-4 in those situations. And so, I mean, for me, I think that's one of the key things for the Grizzlies is Coach Jenkins, their whole coaching staff. You saw how they did without John Morant. I mean, they demolished teams. And even if we look at the situation of a double digit previous matchup loss, so that kind of coincides here. It's they're in revenge spots, 10-3 against the spread. So they take these spots pretty seriously. I mean, the one thing is like, how do these types of trends translate over from regular season to playoffs? I think in this situation, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, some things that you want to probably stay away from as far as trends between regular season and playoffs are ones that would probably take into account teams that aren't really playoff contention teams, right? Like you want to look at teams who are with a winning record and all those stuff. But if you're looking at trends that include teams like the Blazers and the Rockets and things like that, you kind of want to push those aside. Um, so that I feel like trends looking at previous matchup losses, especially a team like the Wolves that they just lost to. I think those types of trends translate well. For me, really it is the coaching ability of the Grizzlies that makes me lean towards them in this spot here specifically. I think they're definitely going to need a better performance from Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams. But I think they can do that. I think they're going to make the proper adjustments, and there should be. I'm hoping they win by like double digits. Not only because John Morant's my favorite player, but I just feel like that's the spot that they're in. I just feel like they're just a better team defensively, and the Wolves really kind of got lucky with some of the shots that they made in the previous game. Um, and if those go back down to a normal percentage, Grizzlies are going to be able to win this one.
I think so too. The only thing that bothers me is that the number is going down. And I can't
Yeah, I see
imagine the
that.
betting public is on the Timberwolves that much after game one, but it is recency bias, and the public
Yeah.
does bet more in the playoffs than they do the regular season. Uh, but it seems to be a gift at 6.5. And
Mm.
I don't think there's ever like a gift. There's never a lock for
No
something. But
locks.
I think there is a strong tendency here that Memphis. I mean, they're the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, and for a very good reason.
Yeah.
Uh, they're an excellent team. They're at full strength, and they must win tonight. And it's as simple
It's
as
a must
that.
win. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a show doing a series preview, and I told them, I think this series is going to be a lot closer than people think. As far as like, especially like the spread, being able to cover the spread. I feel like Grizzlies should win this series, but a lot of the games will be tight. But I think in this spot here specifically, Grizzlies should come out on top and cover the 6.5.
I think so too. And the under, I'm going to go into my live in-game betting again. It's opened at 241.5. I think it's trading at 240 now. And if you do like the under, there's no reason to bet the under full amount before the game starts. As we call it pre-flop. This game is going to be volatile. It's 240 points is what the market is
Mm-hmm.
expecting, and we're going to have a lot of 10-point runs by each team. And you really can allow that kind of volatility to work in your favor. And you're selling into the strength, buying into the weakness. So my recommendation is to bet 50% of your normal amount per game pre-flop, and then look to get somewhere around 251.5 during the first half only. And I do believe there's a high probability that these teams are capable of stretches of 5 minutes that are
Hmm.
ridiculously high scoring. Probably the
Yeah.
most offensive combination we could have. So that's my suggestion for the total. If you like the over, you do the opposite. You do 50%
Mm.
pre-flop, and then you look for a number down in the low 230s, like 231.5. And maybe this will be a game too, Ronald, where I'll be able to play the middle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think
And I
about
would if that would happen.
yeah, the Grizzlies are really typically a high scoring first quarter team, like
Yeah.
historically this, especially this season. So it does make a lot of sense that you could probably get a really great high number after the first quarter that you would want to take the under. So yeah, I mean, I think definitely a middle spot is doable in this game specifically.
Yeah, if I could get 20 points, 25 points to middle,
Yeah.
I mean that's what this in game is all about. Anyway, let's move on to our third and final game. And all these games tonight are really outstanding matchups. We have the New Orleans
Hmm.
Pelicans taking on the Phoenix Suns, the best record in NBA now at 65-18. I'm surprised the line isn't double digits. It's 9.5 right now. I definitely will tell you flat out, I am leaning, and probably leaning more than the what's that building over there, the Leaning Tower of Pizza or whatever it's
Pizza.
called. I'm
Pizza.
leaning more than that, Ronald. I really am. I'm
More
about
than
ready to
the
fall
Leaning
down.
Tower
I'm leaning
Pizza.
so much. But anyway, seriously, I like Phoenix in this. They're the number one seed. They're the best team in the NBA. Pelicans, as you mentioned, are the only losing record team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I gotta believe the Pelicans. They want to believe that they could maybe possibly get an upset,
Uh,
but they also know deep down inside that they're not the Suns. And
yeah.
at a pro level, it's hard to overcome that, let alone even at a high school level game where you know that the opponent is vastly superior. Um, do you see any reason not to lean on the Suns?
No, definitely not. I mean, like, I had actually had the Pelicans plus 10.5 in the first game, just based on it being them, having the opportunity to play in the play-ins, and the Suns coming off like a long stretch. They don't really do too well on those long stretches of rest, and that's why I went on the Pelicans. But they ended up losing by the hook. But in this game specifically, I think you could kind of see the huge discrepancy that they have between the two teams, as far as like the depth and just overall, like, obviously McCollum's playing well, Ingram's playing well, but the depth that the Suns have through all the positions and how they could maneuver players, specific players within, like, especially like the wing position, like small forward and shooting guard, to go ahead and try to cover guys like McCollum and Ingram. They're just gonna throw all they can towards these guys. For me, I feel like I'm leaning towards the Suns primarily in the first quarter, first half. You can kind of see how they dominated that in the first game, and then the Pelicans came back in the second half to almost cover the full game spread. Um, and for the backdoor cover. So I think the Suns are early. First quarter, first half might be the better look, just in case something like that happens again, where the Suns kind of let their guard down, and the Pelicans come back with like a nice momentum swing in the third and fourth quarter. Um, and I also lean towards the under. I feel like I feel like in this game specifically, they're probably the Pelicans are going to need to focus on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if they can be able to stop the Suns. But if the Suns have an early lead in the first half, the pace could just slow down tremendously with the bench players coming in, and then pretty much the second half will be a low scoring half. Oh, you're on mute, John. Still on mute, bud.
Got to unmute myself. There we go. Sorry about
There
that,
you
folks.
go.
I hope you're not lip readers. But seriously, I like that matchup that you broke down there. I think the Suns, get that big lead that you talked about, and then there's the other opportunity. If you're up, 20 going into the fourth quarter, and you're even remotely worried about getting backdoored, then take advantage of the in game and hedge it up just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't like hedging during games, but
Mhm.
that's one play. It's one book I like. Bet MGM will give me the opportunity to take the bet off the table for if you're covering by double digits, it's probably pretty close to like 88% of your bet. So why not do
Mhm.
it? I mean, they're saying right now you can cash in for this. You take away the any bad luck, bad beat type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I when you're offered money that it was your money and you're doubling it almost, you take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to our best bet segment now for this show and see if we can keep the winning ways going. I'll actually start out, and I hope that's not. We've been doing well with you starting out, but let's see what happens with me starting out. I like the under in this Phoenix game quite a bit, so that's my show best bet. I think Phoenix will come out flying, but don't forget, guys and gals, Phoenix has one of the best defenses based on 100 possessions per game in the NBA, which often goes overlooked because they are so darn good and they win so much
Mhm.
and they fill the hoop up so much that we forget how good a defense they are. Very similar to Golden State, who, those two might collide here in the playoffs, and wouldn't that be something? But first things first, I see no reason why the Suns don't cover the spread here too. Um, and that's all I have for the show is the Phoenix Suns minus the 9.5 and the under. I'll do those two bets together, but no parlay, just the two together.
Mhm. Yeah, for me, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go with I like that. I like that under as well. That's full game under, right? That you mentioned.
Yeah, yep,
Well, full game under. Yeah, I do like that full game under there. I was leaning that way anyways. And then I think another one that I would probably want to add is maybe the Grizzlies. Grizzlies first half. I think they should come out swinging in this one because they don't want to go down 0-2 heading to Minnesota, especially as a two seed. I do think they probably cover full game as well, but um, for me, I think Grizzlies first half is maybe the stronger play.
yeah. The Grizzlies, I'm with you on that. And there's been over the last 20 playoffs, the number two seed has made the most appearances of any seed in the NBA Finals. In fact, they've made 18 appearances out of a possible 40. So you could have the Eastern Conference number two, Western Conference number two collide. That's only happened three times, I believe, where
Yeah.
two played number two. But they appear more than the number one seed. So if there was ever a bounce back opportunity here with a two seed, I, I would be shocked if Minnesota won this game and went up 2-0. I just would absolutely be shocked. And it still bothers me that it's only 6.5. What we say sometimes, like it doesn't make any sense unless you do what we do for a living. But if you
Yeah.
said it's 8.5, I would love it. I would love Memphis even more if it was 8.5.
It's funny that you say that because I think that way as well. It's just so tricky because yeah, one of the things that you want to always ask yourself is why. Why is it this way? Um,
Great
and if you
point.
could answer, yeah, if you can answer that pretty clearly, obviously you'll have your decision made there. But yeah, definitely ask yourself why things are a certain way, especially with the line moves and things like that. Does it make sense? Just yeah, the whole narrative part of it of the capping process is pretty strong.
Yeah, great points, Ronald. Great points. So that'll bring us to the end of the Tuesday edition of the NBA Triple Double. Thank you for your time, Ronald, as always. And folks, I won't delay the things I like to say. And then remember two things, especially the first one. Bet with your head, not over it, just like Ronald told you to do. And may all the wins be yours. And we'll look forward to seeing you Wednesday, April the 20th for the next edition of the NBA Triple Double Show. So have a great night, and thanks for watching.